Welcome back, everybody, to DissedMedia, a startup story, the podcast where we take you behind the scenes of starting a business from the ground up. And for many episodes early on in this podcast, we talked about starting this business from the ground up. And, as I said early on, we're either going to crash and burn and we're all going to watch the fire as we go down in flames, or we're going to make something of it. And, 3 years in, we're on season 4 of this podcast. And, things are going, they're moving, and they continue to move. And part of that making things move is reaching out and talking to special guests, people who can share their insight and wisdom about business and starting one, running one, becoming one, taking ideas to market. And it's really challenging sometimes for that to happen. And I think building community around making this stuff work is 100% of what helps. And so today we have a special guest with us, April Palmer. April, how are you?
Oh my gosh, if I were better, I'd be twins.
That's awesome. You had reached out to me having heard the show, and I really loved reading like your background and what you do, because you have a very unique, upfront, I don't want to say aggressive in a bad way, but a very present way of coming across with these things that you have passion around. And I was like, yes, absolutely, I want to talk to this person. Tell us a little bit about the work that you're doing, your background, how you got started, and all of that wonderful stuff.
Yeah, I so appreciate you saying that. I feel like I tried to wake up every day and attack the day with like aggressive joy. Because here's the thing is we have to do it anyway. So we might as well find the whimsy and the joy and the excitement in what we're doing, because otherwise it's just a slog. And I do try to put that energy out there as much as I can, whether it's building community or in my work every day. Right now, I work for a company called Duckbill. We do professional negotiation for tech cloud contracts. But my background is just crazy, wild, varied. I have spent a lot of my life letting the universe just put cool opportunities in my path and then going, what's the best that can happen? What's the worst that can happen? And following them. So I've done everything from, I actually went to college in Germany, came back to the States and couldn't find a job. So I went into nursing. I left nursing to sell packaging equipment, which has nothing to do. I worked for Santander and then ADP, the big red payroll company, American Express. And one of the things that happened across my career is that I ended up working with a lot of privately owned businesses, startups, and across so many different industries. And one of the things that I found was that my level of expertise, I'm one of those people who knows enough to be dangerous about a lot of things and can connect dichotomous ideas across so many different levels and then come up with unexpected solutions. And so that's what I've done in a lot of my roles. But I also had a moment where I was working with some of the largest privately owned businesses on the Eastern Seaboard for American Express. And let's be real, sometimes people luck into success with their small businesses or their startups. It just happens. And I think I had enough meetings with enough people who I sat across from, and I was like, man, if they can make a startup successful, I definitely can, which was a level of hubris that really came back to bite me in my ass a couple of times. But it did inspire me to start my own business. I've since closed it down, and I work as a consultant helping companies to figure out their revenue growth strategy. And I teach venture creation at VCU in Richmond, Virginia.
Nice. It is interesting, I think, for a lot of what I do, because I've kind of been in this balance of being in the corporate world, but also being in academia. And the two things that really, I think, kind of shaped what I do, held me back a little bit, is the fact that both of those environments are very kind of cradling. When you work for a big company that has a lot of resources and a lot of money, you really never experience the struggle and the challenges of business. You kind of live in this philosophical world, and you're able to kind of pontificate from upon high about how the world should operate. And the
Yeah.
same is true in academia, right? It's about, kind of talking about theories and practice, but never really getting into the nitty gritty about it.
Yeah, you don't have the safety net whenever you go into actual kind of startup world and entrepreneurship,
Yeah,
even
and
as
it
an
teaches you quite a
intrapreneur.
bit
Yeah.
when you do.
Yeah, yeah. It's as an one of the things that I teach our Masters of Product Innovation at BCU as well, and one of the things that I tell my students always is start by being an entrepreneur. Find a big company that will bring you in and let you work for kind of idea that they have that's operating like a startup within the big organization first.
Yeah.
Figure that out and learn from that, and then take that knowledge and start your own thing. It's invaluable. Like being able to learn on somebody else's dime with health insurance.
Yeah. Well, as you say that, I think back on, some of I got into a lot of project work. And what I love about project work in big companies, like you said, is there is that safety net there, but there's also a lot of ability to learn and you get a lot of exposure doing things. And a lot of the projects that I ended up getting involved in were things that had never been done before. So you have this opportunity to kind of build it and shape it.
Mhm.
But, at the same time too, there are people who don't like that because they're afraid that once the project's over, your job is gone. At the end of the day though, if you've done well, people are going to keep you on. And you
Yeah.
probably found this in the venture capital and startup world is that even if you fail, depending upon how well you did working towards that failure, people are going to see what you're capable of and want to work with you again.
Oh my gosh, it's such a thing. I actually read a statistic somewhere. I'm probably making up the actual numbers because
Nobody's going to look it up. Don't
yeah, I can't.
worry.
It's fine. It's so true. Absolutely 100. Trust me. That the average entrepreneur has 4 failed startups before they find success on their 5th or beyond. Now, that doesn't hold true for everyone, obviously, but the average. And so
Sure.
you think about the more experience that you have failing, the more like there's this kind of this theory that I have at least, which is if you try to find all of the different ways to fail, eventually there will be no more ways. And then you have to have success. Like it's inevitable, you know? And so I think the more that you fail, if you fail well, and it's not for repeated reasons, like you're not learning your lesson, that's not the way that you do it. But you're out there, you're trying, you're making good decisions, you're communicating with your investors, and your shareholders and your customers and everybody, that actually I think makes you much more attractive to VCs in the future. They can see your track record of like really giving it a go.
It's interesting as you say that. I think about Thomas Edison, right? So there's this famous story of, he tried 1,000 ways to make a light bulb before he succeeded, and they asked him, how come you never gave up? And his response was, I found 1,000 ways how not to make a light bulb before I succeeded.
Yes.
So in the
Damn, I
same
thought I
vein,
made up that theory. Huh,
in the same vein though, you could
rude.
you could very much apply that to succeeding in a business, which is
Hmm.
why keep pursuing it? Well, one, there's a ton of learning you get out of it. And as I said, even as we started the intro to this episode, even if we crashed and burned, there is so much I've learned in the process of putting this together that I can take and apply to a lot of other things that I'm interested in doing. And I think that's kind of what the spirit of entrepreneurism is all about. It's just having this relentless desire to see something work. And so what if it doesn't happen the first time or the
Right.
fifth time?
Yeah. Wait, can I flip the script on you here a little
100%.
bit and
Yeah.
ask, had it crashed and burned? So you're 5 years in now, right?
Yeah. About three, a little over three.
3 years,
Yeah.
3 years. So say a year and a half in, right under 2 years, it had crashed and burned. What do you think that you would have done next?
Uh,
Your plan B?
would
Did you
I
have
would
one?
have carved out the things that went well and pivoted and focused on that.
Okay.
And by the way, it's funny that you asked that because going into 2026 now, we're carving off things that didn't work. Like, for example, we built a learning platform to try and entice online learning. I'm actually glad you're a teacher as well. I've been doing it for like 20 years.
Oh, wow.
Um,
Okay.
and, it's interesting because my impression was, oh, we could build some online classes and people would love that. And then as I built it, it was fun building it. But then I realized nobody wants to do it. And
Yeah.
they don't want to do it because people want to learn, but they have to be self-motivated to go out there and
Mhm.
do it. And then you're competing against all of these other platforms. And then I looked up something like Masterclass.
Yeah.
Masterclass has like a 50+% churn rate.
Yeah.
If people aren't going to watch nice, edited, put together videos, what the hell chance do I have?
Yeah, yeah, there's not a thing, and I think it's so I've kicked around the idea of building courses myself, especially in sales, and what I found is every time I do it, I much prefer to spend one-on-one time with people and
Yeah,
figure out what's your number one blocker? What's the one thing that I can help you with today? And sometimes it's changing the way that you start a call. Sometimes with product innovation, it's changing the way that you do customer discovery, the way that you think about customer discovery. But sometimes with scaling a business, it's really just considering, do you need full-time employees or can you do fractional? Like, what does this look like? What's the one thing that I can come in and solve for you that takes away the blocker that lets you keep moving forward? But I find that there's good advice that is good for everyone, right? To a certain extent. But we all know that it's common sense. If I were going to write a business book, I probably would call it It's Common Sense Stupid because it is, right? Like most of it's common sense and it's good to be reminded of it. But where I think that we people like you and people like me can make a real difference is that it doesn't take long for us to hear people's stories and start to really pull out what's the nuance here for you and what's the thing for you that I can highlight. And once that's done, like you're off to the races and you don't even need, I love to make myself obsolete as a consultant, which is probably the worst thing in the world for me. Like it's not a great business model, but it is great because the minute that I can get somebody to not need me anymore for a while is a beautiful thing. It means that they're on the right path.
well, and chances are when you're doing it right, the person that is helped by what you've done is going to know someone else who can be helped by what you've
Yes.
done,
Yes.
right? And so they're like, "Hey, April is a person you need to get in touch with because I had this problem and, she's great at that."
Yeah.
And I think that's, really how this works. And the one thing that I've really tapped into that I enjoy about about doing a podcast and just putting out content, whether it's writing
Hmm.
videos, whatever, it's the community, it's the opportunity to meet people. I love, connecting with new people and learning about what other people do. I hate that I spent 20 years at one company.
Hmm.
like listening to your story about I went here for a little bit, it bounced around. I wish I had that experience earlier on in my career.
Yeah.
Um, but really, I've always, all the way through it, have always enjoyed getting my hands into a bunch of different things.
Yeah.
Um, Let me ask you this: when it comes to the stuff that you're working on now, I love that you've developed this persona around hot mess boss. How did that come about? Like, how did you land on that?
Because I am an actual literal walking hot mess all the time. Like, I'm so interested in everything, right? Like, listen, complete and total unregulated ADHD first and foremost. I've had it my whole life and I've done a lot to create my own mechanisms for existing in the world. But I'm a curious person. And so when something just grabs my curiosity, I tend to follow it. And that can leave a wake of chaos. Luckily, I have amazing people surrounding me who have the ability to harness all of that and make good things happen out of it. But when I started my startup years ago, let's see, 20. 17 called Pivot Pass. When I started hiring a team, my team just affectionately nicknamed me. They would just introduce me and they'd be like, "This is April, she's our hot mess boss." And it fit. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to lean into it because I think so many of us try, and this is, I think, across the board, we do this, but I also see this a lot with women specifically in business, is we try to put this persona forward of like, I've got my shit together. Trust me, I've got my shit together. And what I found was when I tried to do that, I really was not performing well for my clients and things weren't going well because I was setting an expectation. I was writing checks with my mouth that like my actions couldn't cash. And so you couldn't take it to the bank because I was not being true to who I am. Now I can say, "Hey, this is what I'm really good at and this is what I'm not good at." And so don't the expectation is that this is not something I'm going to do, but I know somebody who can. I can introduce you to that person. And so the harder I leaned into my strengths and who I truly am as me and where I function the best, the easier it was for me to draw the right people to me. And so I started saying, I'm not for everyone and that's okay. And some people, I tend to be a very polarizing person. Either you love me or you hate me. You'll never meet one person in the world who will be like, "Oh, April Plummer, she's okay." That just doesn't happen, right? They're either like, "Oh, I cannot stand her energy," or "I love her energy and I want more of it." And so I had a moment in my life where I said, you know what, if you don't like this, if it doesn't do it for you, which is fine, but don't try to make it work. I'm not going to try to make it work. Like, fuck right off. Boom, problem solved. I know other people who are amazing at what you need, but I'm not the one. I'm not going to try to be that for you. And that is really when I think my business exploded. My life just became filled with joy all the time. Like this is one of those things where I tease my students a lot because I'll say, we've all heard this story: do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And they're all like, that's so true. And I'm like, it's not true. As an entrepreneur, do what you love and you will get an ulcer, a receding hairline, an empty bank account. You'll lose friends and family. Like you will work and you have to make it worth it. And I feel like for me, I cracked the code on not just making it worth it, but also making it joyful. And that is like the highest pinnacle of success that I can think of for me. So that's great.
Man, there's so much in there that you mentioned. I want to kind of unravel that a little bit because so first and foremost, I love the fact that you kind of approach things with this bit of authenticity. And I think when people are, we're going to talk a little bit about the corporate world. When people are kind of trying to build their persona in the corporate world, they try to conform to that environment. And, I spent many years, like 20 years, in a very conservative company,
Mhm.
Coca-Cola. And, they're not, they're calculated risk takers. They're not, move fast and break things kind of people.
Mhm.
And the thing is that to really excel in organizations like that, you kind of have to conform to that. And
Yeah.
it can be very challenging when you're not that way.
Yeah.
There are times when I
Yes.
haven't been that way, for sure. But even when you're an entrepreneur, a lot of times people say, "Yeah, I can be an entrepreneur. I'm going to set my own hours. I'm going to be my own boss. Yeah." But the thing is that you're going to be working all the time.
All the time.
All,
Yeah.
like, in
And you say that you're your own boss, but you are not. Like you have stakeholders.
Yep.
And that doesn't necessarily mean that they're investors from a monetary perspective. Maybe you haven't raised money, but you probably have people in your life who are making sacrifices for you to be able to do that. Those are stakeholders. You have changed things in your life to be able to do it. So you are a stakeholder in this. You have clients and customers who you've convinced to come on this journey with you at the startup. Those are stakeholders. They are giving up the opportunity to try other solutions for whatever it is that you're solving because they believe in what you're doing. And so, even if you don't have venture capital money, you have stakeholders and you are no longer working for yourself whenever you start a business. I don't, even if you're just like a single person who, you know, doesn't have a partner and doesn't have kids and whatever, like you still have people who are
Depending
depending
upon
on you.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting because one of a common thread I tend to find in people who are entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, one, they find themselves getting into things. I was going to say into
Mhm.
problems, but it's really they identify opportunities and focus relentlessly on them, not because anybody told them to, but because they have this natural curiosity and a desire to
Mhm.
just go figure it out. Um, and then the other thing too is that they don't always necessarily look at the ROI of investing their time into these things either.
The amount of pitches that I hear on a weekly and monthly basis for businesses, and I just look at people and I go, "How are you going to make money?" And they'll say, "Oh, whatever. Well, like people are going to subscribe to my YouTube channel, like, but how are you going to make money? Until you can tell me how you are going to make money, this is a hobby. And it's not just money, it's more money than you're investing to do it, right? Like
Yeah.
it's a hobby. And it's okay to have really interesting, fun, cool hobbies, but you have to be realistic about that.
Yeah, that's true. And it's funny that you mentioned that because that is kind of one of those decision points we've had even doing this. We put money into it, we formed an actual company, but absent a revenue generating product that has good margins, it's really been finding what the business is going to be, defining it, and things like that. Now, along the way, learned a ton and
Mhm.
have gotten to a better position now 3 years into it, probably slower than some other people would have done it. But
It's okay.
yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the thing though is to your point, and one of the things I tell people, because people have asked, like, why do you keep doing it? Look, some people are into photography. Some people love sports and they
Yeah.
buy season tickets and they tailgate and they think of how much money you're spending on that.
Mm.
This doesn't cost me as much as a serious hobby.
Yeah.
So,
And not for nothing, I think it's I do get a lot of students especially who will talk to me about podcasting as a business. And I think that it takes some really, really special people to create an entire business around podcasting.
yeah.
And I'm really good friends with some of them. My friend Chioki Anson is heavily involved in this. I have a couple of friends who that's all they do is podcast production. And it's amazing that they do that. But when I see business people using podcasting as a business, one of the things that I tend to ask, and so I'll ask you this, is podcasting for you the business, or is it more of a kind of community building and lead generation
Yeah,
side of things?
to me, I don't really see it as the business. Like, I'm not sitting here saying, "Oh, we're looking for sponsors, and we're going to make ad
Right.
revenue and all this other stuff." I mean, sure, could that happen? Yes, but that's the sprinkles on the icing. That's not what is going to bring in.
Pay your mortgage.
Exactly. And really, we kind of talked about a little earlier is it's building a community
Mhm.
and it's getting more into the coaching and developing space. And really what this is becoming is a proving ground to say, we can get into media, we understand SEO, we understand how to leverage social media in a way to build your
Mhm.
exposure, to build your business. And
Right.
hey, now that I've built success around that, let me share with you how you can do it too.
Perfect. This is our sandbox. This
Yeah.
is us eating our own dog food, for lack of a better analogy, right? Like we're doing it and we've made all of the mistakes.
Yeah.
Right? Like we've done it. So let us help you skip making those mistakes. And listen, let's be real. The people who can learn from other people's mistakes are the real MVPs of life. I don't have that ability. Like I see other people make mistakes. I'm like, maybe I can make that same mistake better. What is this? I don't know why we have to do this. But the for people who can look at what you've done and say, "Hey, I believe you that this is not the thing to do. And if I skip doing that, then I'm going to find success faster." That's a beautiful thing. And what you do is you just accelerate other people's success. And one of the things that I love about what you do and what others who have a similar mission are doing is that it you're helping other people create resources and content and ways of thinking, thought leadership that I can't have on my own. And the more of it that's out there, the like smarter I get, right? Because I get to
Yeah,
learn by other people's osmosis. And so I love that. Like you are creating a vehicle for me to be better at what I do because I get to learn from the people who you are mentoring. Great.
it's funny you say that. So, a couple things. One, like Gary Vaynerchuk is probably a good inspiration for the
Hmm.
fact that he says, just give it away.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
just give it away. In the
He and Marcus Sheridan are like, they've got that, you know?
Yeah, and so a lot of what this is about is giving it away. But yeah, it's funny you actually hit on kind of our mission statement. It's on the Daily Pitch website, which is, we help managers, leaders, and entrepreneurs get better at what they do, and that's the underlying mission of what this is all about. Um, and the podcast, funny enough, we started it because we were going to chronicle the startup of this company. And we're going to, like, from the very beginning of, we have 0 followers, we don't even have a website.
Right.
Here we go.
Come be in the suck with us. Like,
Yeah.
it's going to be so good.
And so that's kind of what started it. And then, like I said, over the last 6 months, we've gotten a lot more focused on doing the podcasting stuff. But still, it's all a lesson in learning about how to make this stuff grow and thrive. And it'll get there. The benefit is that 3 years into it, we got 3 years of experience of knowing
Yeah.
more how to do this stuff. So help me understand, what are some of the things that you are currently working on that you're really excited about doing right now?
Oh my gosh, so many things. This is the ADHD moment. So, as I mentioned, my what I call my real job, the one that pays the mortgage, is with a company called Duckbill. And we help support people whenever they're negotiating their cloud contracts. But a couple of years ago, I looked at my boss, my CEO, because we're a team of four, right? Like very small. I looked at my boss. I was like, you know what I want for Christmas? This is like in April. I was like, you know what I want for Christmas? I want this ability for us to be able to upload people's cloud contracts into some system. I'm not a techie person, but I work in tech. Like I just learned that you can talk to your remote on a TV, which was very exciting for me because the only TV I own is for my cats. But now across the room, I can be like, show cat YouTube videos. It's great. But I said, I want to be able to upload their cloud contracts and then connect their AWS account to it and be able to see how their spend is tracking against the commitments that they've made to Amazon Web Services. And he said, impossible. It's too hard. Can't be done. And if it could be, somebody would have already done it. And I was like, bummer. I was thinking this would be a really cool revenue growth mechanism for us. And 3 weeks later, he came back and he goes, let me show you something. And he had the sandbox of
Oh,
this. Like it had gotten in his head and he had done it. So that was almost 2 years ago. We've raised 2 rounds and we've gone from a kind of a services consultancy and we've now moved into a product focused hyperscaler growth mode startup. So we were like a startup, but more of a consultancy. And now we're like startup vibes. And so we're this really scrappy team with a bunch of engineers, and we have big ideas about what we're doing. And we have amazing client partners who are working with us to help to ameliorate our ideas. And it's just really fun to watch this crazy idea that I had, especially as somebody who teaches product innovation, right? To watch it come to fruition and grow, and then also see how it is impacting companies, like huge, massive companies who are spending hundreds of millions of dollars a year on AWS. And we're
so
just a team of 12, you know?
so let me ask you this, because for people who don't understand, because if I'm on the outside looking in, you're like, we negotiate cloud contracts. And then you were like, there's this cloud service that we could build and to help people with cloud contracts. That might confuse some people who
Yeah,
aren't as familiar with this space and how all of that stuff works in AWS and what they do.
yeah.
Um, for those who are less informed about how this stuff works, when you say negotiating cloud contracts, let's start there. How What is that about?
Yeah. So companies like Amazon Web Services. So first of all, think about this. Like when you log into, say, your banking app and you get all of your account information, all of that information is housed in the cloud somewhere, right?
Mhm.
Someone has built infrastructure around that. They're moving the data back and forth so you can access it from France or from Richmond, Virginia, wherever you are. And some companies, you get startups and they're like, oh, we're spending so much on our cloud services and it's $1,000 a year. Most of our clients are spending somewhere from a million to, I don't know, $20 million a month on Amazon Web Services. And so AWS will give them discounts for making commitments to spend a certain amount of money. So we're a small team, but a lot of our team actually worked either with or for Amazon Web Services before. And so we just have taken that knowledge and what companies need and help them save some money.
Yeah, create out of it.
Yeah, which is great.
What was it? Years ago, I'd met somebody who their entire business was for people who used UPS or FedEx. When you're a business and you send something out second day, next day air, and there are delivery guarantees on that. And if you're a big shipping company, you send a lot of packages, a lot of times those time guarantees aren't met and you're due a refund for the not being
Mhm.
met. And so what they did was they went through all of your deliveries and then checked it against the system and made sure that everything arrived. And whatever didn't arrive on time, they got like a percentage cut for the refund that
Yeah,
they would go
it's
after.
amazing. I mean, there's this concept that I'm really enamored with when it comes to the startup world. When we're trying to figure out what problems to solve, and it's interesting that you said opportunities earlier. I really do think that the best entrepreneurs are obsessed with problems, right? Like what is the problem?
Yeah.
But oftentimes people get so focused on the active problem, like the one that we see, right? Which is, oh, my product didn't get here from UPS and now it's going to make me late on client delivery of something, whatever it is. But the latent problem, which is the thing that happens before a problem becomes active. And this is not something that I made up. I'm not this smart, but I was watching someone and I can't remember their name. And so I'm so sorry that I can't give you credit for this. But they're talking about in The Emperor's New Groove, there's this scene where like the villain woman is there with the
Yzma.
big, yes, yeah, Yzma, and like with the big honkin' like muscle guy, and she goes, pull the lever, and
Kronk.
like he pulls the lever and she falls and she goes, not that lever,
Right.
right? But the problem is there are two levers right next to each other that look exactly the same. So the problem is not that he pulled the wrong lever. The latent problem to solve is like, why are there two levers who look exactly alike right next to each other? And one of them can cause a fatality and the other one does what it's supposed to do. And so I think that so many startups to focus on the active problem. But when you start to really dig in, where the money is in the unsexy latent problems, right? And so if you're asking enough questions, if you're digging in hard enough, you'll figure out there's something broken way up the line. And if you can fix, that's where the money is, and that's where the success is.
Yeah, no, that's very true. And I think that identifying the problem is half the battle. And in fact, I
Hmm.
mean, go around the world today, most people are really good at figuring out what the problem is, or at least identifying what it is and what, something that is off.
Hmm.
The much harder part is putting time, energy, and effort into it to come up with a solve that's not only beneficial, but is also profitable.
Yeah.
The
Mm.
problem's not worth solving. And that is one of those things that can sometimes be challenging, especially for people who to get themselves busy into a
Yeah.
lot of stuff.
Yeah. Those are also the problems that aren't worth solving, are also sometimes the problems that are impacting the person who wants to solve them enough that they look at it and they go, everyone must have this problem.
Yeah, it is interesting. There's so many things that we do overlook. Simple inventions, simple small things that it's like, my gosh, why didn't I come up with that in front of us the whole time?
Yeah, it's crazy. They actually, I have this. Wait, I'm going to show you. I have this thing on right now, and it's called a tucky. I think it's called a tucky. We're gonna see. I'm going to partially disrobe. It's called a tucky. Yes, and it's this coolest. It's a little belt, and it's got some little grippy on it, and you put it on around like your rib cage or your waist, and then you can tuck your shirt up into it. And so instead of having to tuck your shirt into your jeans or like up into your bra strap, which I'm sure is
I
doesn't
haven't
feel
had
like a
that issue
problem.
yet.
I know, like it's not a problem for you, but it's a problem for me. And I think I probably spent like $35, $40 on this thing. I wear it all the time. It's like one of my favorite parts because I'm a fashion girly. So like I love the fashion. Um, but when I saw it advertised, I was like, shit, why didn't I think of that? Like, I should have invented this. I've come up with 8,000 ways to solve this problem across so many of my outfits. And it's so frustrating for me. And not once did I ever think, I wonder if somebody else is having this problem. And I wonder if there's an easy solve for it that I could create. I was just so like focused on my own little world. And it is always amazing to me when I think, would I have come up with this idea and then thought, oh, I can sell hundreds of thousands of these at a profit to other people having this problem? Or would I have looked at it and been, I'm the only person who has this problem, so there's no market for it?
Yeah, it really is sometimes the very simple things. I was watching TikTok the other day. Or
Uh-oh.
Sky, like I say like an old man. I was watching the TikTok.
That's
I was
why I was on the
scrolling through TikTok
interwebs.
the other day. But anyway, there was a guy who invented this neat little magnetic thing that goes on the back of your computer to
Hmm.
hold an external drive.
Oh,
Like
that's so smart.
you flip up your lid and you stick it on the back of the lid of your
Yeah.
computer. And I'm like, genius.
Damn it. Yeah.
Just those little things sometimes that those
Yeah.
inconveniences of life that people
Hmm.
figure out how to build a business around.
Yeah.
And who knows on how long it'll last, but the fact that they've got momentum from that one thing,
Yeah.
I'm sure there's more out there. I'm not sure if you remember that Ron Popeil, who was came up with he used to run all these TV ads like back in the 80s and 90s, had the pocket fisherman, and he was just like this
Oh, yeah. We
invention
didn't have
guy.
TV growing up. So, yes, but I do remember that. Yes.
Yeah. And some people just have a mind for figuring out those little
Yeah.
things that
Yeah.
make sense.
I do a lot of, I have that brain where I look around the world and think, oh, this should be solved. I also, once it gets in my brain, I have to write a business plan about it to get it out. Like, otherwise, I just ruminate on it all the time. And so, one of the things I'm relatively well known for is I have just folders upon folders in my Google Drive of business plans that I've written for different things that I think. And then I'll meet somebody and they're like, oh, I'm interested in fashion. I'm like, oh, I have 5 business plans. Would you like to look through any of them and see if they're a business you'd like to start? And I'm like, just take it. Just do, if you feel like you want to do it, just do it. I'm never going to do it. I just had to write the business plan so that I could move on
So
in
you
my life
get it
and
out of
not
your
just
head.
keep thinking about it. Yes. Same thing, actually. I wrote a book earlier last year. I'm on the last 2 chapters, and I had an idea and I was like, it's in my head. And if I don't write it, then I'm not going to be able to do anything else. And so I sat down and did the thing. And as soon as I don't think it's going to be good, no expectations that it will be good, but I had to get it out of my head.
So similar. Just over the holiday, finished putting a book together. Haven't
Okay.
soon. We're going through final edits right now and
Okay.
final
All right.
reviews before we
Wait,
put it out.
is yours useful? Is yours teaching people stuff?
Mine, so here's how it came about. Doing this podcast because I've been talking to a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners, and one of the things that I kept coming back to was the fact that there's kind of these common themes that we talk about when we talk about entrepreneurs, and we talk about business and how the world is changing. And whether it's around leadership or AI usage or, marketing, sales, just kind of general common things that we keep coming back to. So going back to our mantra of managers, leaders, and entrepreneurs, helping you get better at what you do, 10 lessons, 10 topics for managers and leaders and entrepreneurs to help you get better at what you do.
I
Uh,
love this.
yeah, it's going to be 10 topics around these common themes that we came out from the podcast. And by the time you hear this episode, the book should be out.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I have a thing, just so you know, if I have a friend who writes and publishes a book, I get it and I read it.
I will make sure that you get it.
Yeah, just let me know, because I am also, so one of the things that I do is I buy it. I'm like, I will buy your book and I will read it, and I will, like, I'll try to
I
post
will
about it
say
or
this too,
whatever.
like, feel free. I am not afraid to call my baby ugly. I think it's very important that you have that ability to do that.
Yeah,
So please, like, if you do, send me some feedback. Let me know what you think.
yeah, of
And let me know what can be
course.
better. Because the
And I have
idea
zero
is
filter, so I'll tell you what I really think.
100%. Honestly, I think feedback is a gift. I think even when people tell you to fuck off, like, it can be beneficial.
Yeah, sometimes you actually do need to fuck off, and you've just been like hanging around, and come on, it's time. Like, like, it was an opportunity, sunk cost fallacy, right? That you're still hanging out here, but you need to. Mine is not useful. Mine is a psychological thriller about a LinkedIn killer. Is loosely inspired by some of the LinkedIn DMs that I get on a
Oh my
regular basis.
gosh.
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever run into that problem. The only harassing I ever get are people who want to sell me stuff. And they're like,
Oh, see,
hey,
there you go.
I'm glad we connected. Are you interested in X, Y, or Z now?
Oh my God. Do you know I call that pitch slapping? Because they're like, hey, would love to be a part of your professional network. And then as soon as you accept, they're like, also buy my thing. And you're like, no, we're not doing this. Like,
Yeah.
it's 2026. We're not being douchey on LinkedIn anymore.
Yeah. It's one of the things that platform, you just kind of got to navigate around it.
Yeah.
But I do feel for I have two daughters. My youngest is an actress and
Okay.
got a lot of stuff out there on social media, and you get creeps.
You get creeps. Yep, that's the way. And I just had a couple of really creepy experiences, and I thought, I have this idea for a book, so I'm going to write it.
Well, that's awesome. And likewise, yeah, when it comes out, like, first of all, you should come back so we can promote it, make sure that people know about it. And yeah, kind of get into it. I mean, that is it it seems, gosh, I don't, you know what? I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to put that out there in the world.
Maybe my next business after I do this will be a coaching business to help a specific demographic on LinkedIn figure out how to behave themselves on LinkedIn as a coach.
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
I can make some money doing that.
It could be beneficial. The problem is that they would never actually seek that.
No, not at all, not at all. Whatever. This was just, who knows if it will ever come of anything, but it's that some of us are just designed to have ideas and then get them out and then move on to the next one. I think some people are designed to have ideas and create them. Something that you said to me before we even started recording, which stuck with me, was this idea of the people who are creating businesses and then they create these amazing teams around them. And one of the things that popped into my brain was, have you ever read the book Rocket Fuel?
I have not. I feel like I've heard of it, but I not something I've read.
It's so good. And for me, it's, I think, required reading for anyone who's starting a company or has started a company, is looking to scale, whatever it is. And it talks about the most likely to be successful teams are composed of usually like the big idea person. That's me. I'm the big idea person. And so that's the innovator. And then there's the integrator. And that person is the person who not only looks at the innovator and says, we can do that, but it's not what we should do right now. Yes, maybe we'll do that someday, but right now we have to do this, but then also does the execution of things. And it's such an interesting moment for me. And it feels like you have those people as well, where it's like, hey, I have this idea. Now, who are all the people around me who can help make it happen and help turn it into a book? There's some people who do both, right? That's an amazing personality type. But people like me, like I have an idea and then I write it down and I either give it away to somebody else or it just stays out there in the ether. Like
Yeah,
I,
one of the things I've talked about this before is, there are no self-made people.
not at
It's
all.
very everybody has been helped by, been influenced by, um, in some way benefited from someone else in their journey to get to where they are. And, I think it's important to surround yourself with good people, that kind of have your back and will
Yeah.
be honest with you. Because that's another thing
Yes.
too, is that sometimes people surround themselves with people who only tell them the good stuff.
Wait, did you ever see the episode with Simon Sinek where he talks about the challenge network? I can't I say the episode, like that
Nobody
gives you any
I know he puts a
direction,
lot of
right?
stuff out there, like, on
Yeah.
social media. I may have, although the context of it isn't coming to me, but there's a lot of
Okay.
Simon Sinek stuff that I have looked at.
Oh my God. I feel like I learned something even in like the weensy tiny little nuggets that he puts out there.
Oh
But the
my god.
challenge network is one of my favorite things. I will bastardize it because I'm going to put it in April
Yeah.
speak. When you are doing a thing, there are two types of people you can surround yourself with. One are the cheerleaders. Those are the people who be like, yes, you can do this. You can be successful. You have all the skills. It's amazing. Congratulations. Go for it. Those people are really important in our lives. Like they're almost like delusional in their support of us, right? But a challenge network are the people who give enough fucks about your success that they're going to be like, hey, slow down. Did you think about this? Or I see you doing this, and I'm not sure that this makes a lot of sense given my experience and my knowledge base around this. Or even, hey, I think that your startup idea is really cool as a hobby, but probably not a startup, right? They're the people who care enough about us to tell us the truth and to give us what sometimes feels like really hard to hear feedback, but they don't want you to run towards a goal that is going to be maybe devastating across the board. And so I very carefully curate what I call my challenge network board of advisors in my life. And for my career, then there are people who will look at me and say, what the fuck are you doing? Who ties your shoelaces for you in the morning? This is if one of your friends did this, you would be like smacking them upside the head. I don't hit people unless they ask for it specifically, but theoretically doing it, right? So
Yeah.
why would you do it? Why would you think that it's okay for you to do this? And they're also the people who will say like, why are you talking to yourself like this? You wouldn't talk to your friends like this. And so I just think it's really important to find a challenge network that you can surround yourself with and then give them permission to give you really good feedback.
Yeah, I can't. I'm going to do the same thing here. I can't remember who I heard this from, but I heard this bit of advice. I've mentioned it before, but surrounding your network into, kind of breaking them out into thirds, where a third of the people that you should be socializing with are people who you can help bring up to your level. The other third of people that you should help are people who are in your own circle, because you need people that you can be yourself around, that you're sharing the same struggles, that you have the same,
Right.
you need the same assistance and help and ideas,
Mhm.
and they're relatable. And then the other third of people are those who you aspire to get to, right? And so keeping that network of people to say, like, there are qualities about that person that I hope to be able to achieve someday. And so I want to keep exposing myself to that to kind of bring me up. And at the end of
I
the
love
day,
that.
you want to have people around you that they want you to do well for your sake, not for their own.
Hmm.
And, I think just kind of keeping that balance of that third, because we should always be looking for people to help out. We always need people who understand what we're going through and can complain
Hmm.
too. And then we also need to keep aspiring, keep pushing us a little bit further to get a
Yeah.
little bit better at what we do.
Yeah, I love this. Also, that makes me think about the fact that I haven't been teaching as long as you, but one of the things that I have found is that when I ask students who are performing really well to help students who maybe are struggling with certain concepts, not only does the student who's struggling get better, but what I found is that the student who's doing really well with it makes incredible leaps in their understanding of the knowledge and where they go. It's like a quantum leap into the next phase of what it is that we're trying to learn, because teaching it to people or helping them also helps you identify the areas that you might not necessarily be really strong in. And so that's a fun thing. Like when you help other people get better, I think that it exponentially fuels your own growth
Yeah.
in a way that you can't get if you're only just looking up, right?
Yeah, I mean, and I think there's something to, when you help people get better, you find new ways of learning it so that you could
Mhm.
teach it, right? So that
Yeah.
you can get it across to other people. And I think all of that, becomes very important. I imagine in the consulting world that really it's nice that you're able to kind of tap into that teacher side of yourself, because I'm
Yeah.
sure there's a lot of that in just getting points across to people.
Yeah, so much of it. Also, I can't tell you how many times a week I will be working with one client and they'll say something or we'll solve a problem. And I immediately, when I finish with them, am calling my other clients and going, idea. Like, hey, we just figured this out and I think that this is going to work for you. And so that's a really fun thing too, because you get to proliferate the knowledge
Right.
and accelerate your kind of entire community's growth by solving problems with individual different clients. So that's fun for me.
Man, well, April, I have to tell you, this is we talked about this before we got started. You're like, what makes a good conversation? I'm like, when we just kind of get into it and kind of let it fly. Those are always, I think, the things that people learn the most from, but
Yeah.
also just the most fun to have.
The hour flew by. I don't even know where it went. It's crazy. I feel like I could sit and talk to you for hours. So
Well,
I
awesome.
love about you.
Look, like I said, anytime. One of the things that I am going to start putting together. I haven't gotten it going yet, just because the directions I get pulled into. But my idea for 26 is to start putting together more panel kind of stuff, where bringing people together around topics. If you are interested, I'll definitely reach out to you.
So much.
Yeah. Yeah. And as time permits, because it's hard I carve out some times for doing these things, but they're not always syncing up with everybody's schedules. But I will put a group together. I'll loop you in on it and would
So
love to
fun.
have you on anytime to
So
share your
fun.
wisdom.
I love this. Thank you so much for sharing your time and your audience with me, because this has been just like a joyful, fulfilling conversation for me. And as we like looping back to the beginning of the conversation, that's where I'm at, man. I'm just relentlessly chasing joy in my professional and personal life.
Well, before we cut you loose, where can people find you? Where can people learn more about you and the things that you're working on?
Yeah, I am Hot Mess Boss on every social media platform. The ones that I tend to spend my most time on are LinkedIn and Instagram. So LinkedIn is linkedin.com/n/Hot Mess Boss. And Instagram is just Hot Mess Boss. And I'm there and I try to keep up with conversations, although sometimes my DMs get so overwhelming that I have to just throw my hands up and say, try again later.
Understand. Well, thank you so much for your time, so much for the conversation. For those of you checking this out, please encourage you, share this with friends, family, loved ones, anyone you know. We are on a mission. 2026, they had 100,000 YouTube subs, and we are mad at it. So, folks, share this with people you love. In the meantime, glad that you stopped by. Hope to see you again, and we'll catch you next time. Have a good one. Thanks for listening to DissedMedia, a startup story. This podcast was produced and edited by Ben Olmos and is a production of DissedMedia Corporation. If you're interested in learning more about anything you heard on this episode, please reach out to us at podcast@dissedmedia.com. You can also get more information about this and other episodes or information about our guests by checking out dailypitch.news, our business and insights publication focused on helping managers, leaders, and entrepreneurs get better at what they do.